All right. What is up, traders? What's up, tycoons? Super excited for today's video. We're going to take a look at KRE. And the reason being is because the banking sector is super oversold. I'm sure, unless you've been living under a rock, that you have heard about Silicon Valley Bank. You've heard about Silvergate. There's so many banks, and there's a lot of banks that are still under pressure, right? And one of them is Ally Bank, ticker symbol ALLY. Definitely be on the lookout for that. But we're going to see if there's any opportunities here. Perhaps if some of these sectors are oversold. We know that the Fed is supposedly bailing these banks out. We're not going to go and debate too much about the bailout, but rather dive into the charts and see if there's any opportunities and go over some of the key levels to look for when it comes to KRE. So let's go ahead and hop on over to TradingView now, and we'll jump straight into the video. So we're going to start off here actually on the weekly chart. Right here, okay, taking a look at KRE regional banking. Now, of course, SVB was a regional bank, and so that's why you're seeing so much blood. I mean, just look at this crazy weekly candlestick right here. Huge drop. All right. But what's interesting is we actually had a head and shoulders forming here. Okay. We had our left shoulder, we had our head and our right shoulder here, and essentially we broke through this neckline. All right. And the head and shoulders ended up playing out. All right, we found a little bit of support here at this weekly level, all right, of 41.91, and we started to bounce right around that area. Now, we're going to zoom in now and go over to the daily chart. And something that I love to say and love to tell people is that price action often precedes news. And so sometimes it seems like, you can predict some of these crazy market catalysts just by looking at price action and some of the signals. Okay. And what I mean by that is if you take a look right here, okay, we actually end up getting a MACD crossover to the downside right here. All right. So this is the red line crossing below this blue line. This is a sell signal. Okay. And look at where this sell signal occurred. It occurred all the way up here. So, if you happen to be in puts on regional banking due to the MACD sell signal, this would have been an amazingly profitable trade. Now, what's really interesting as well is that we actually came back and filled a gap down we had on the chart from a really long time ago. Okay. We actually have this gap down here from November of 2020, guys. So, this gap is years old. And I love charting up these gaps and looking at these gaps because they're really useful. Okay. These gaps, they fill about 90% of the time historically. The big question is when they're going to fill, not if they're going to fill. So if you take a look, right, there's a gap in between these two candles as well. That gap fills very quickly. There's a gap in between these two candles. That gap fills very quickly, right? Gap in between these candles, it fills very quickly. All right. So, a lot of times you can catch the gap fills quickly, but sometimes, it takes a very long time, right? It could take weeks, months, years. And we see that there's this big gap in between these candlesticks, right? From this candle all the way to this candle right here. There's a big gap in between those candles. And we can see that this negative market catalyst is actually what fueled the gap fill down. Okay. And so, as I mentioned, we bounced at that 41.91 level. So this is going to be a really key area. Okay. 41.91 is definitely going to be our major support level. If you take a look at your relative strength index, we're very oversold. Okay. Even after the sharp bounce from 41.91 all the way up to the $47 region where we're at right now, we're still in oversold conditions. So there's a couple different ways you could play this. All right. And of course, this video is definitely not financial advice, but something you could look at doing, maybe if you're actually bullish on regional banking, is you could come around and actually get a pretty nice premium on selling some puts. Okay. So maybe if you want to own regional banking, and you have enough capital, okay, you can sell cash secured puts, all right, and try to collect some premium. And if it falls to your strike price, then you can purchase, 100 shares at whatever given price that you take. All right, you can also sell some credit spreads, because the put premium is really high right now after this really big dramatic move. Even with the bounce, you can still collect a nice little premium. Now, those are just some basic strategies to be aware of that you can use doing options. Of course, you can buy stock and put a stop loss on whatever your type of risk management that you want to have. Now, something that you need to be aware of is going to be our major overhead resistance, right? And what I love to use is the Fibonacci levels, right? Specifically the 61.8, the 50%, and the 38.2. The reason being is these are the three most common and well-respected retracement levels, and nothing moves in a straight line down or in a straight line up. So with that being said, we have our swing high up here, right? This is where we put in our top before this massive move to the downside, and we've started to retrace, right? And what I mean by that is you either get a move down, retracement, and a continuation of the trend. Okay, so these are the major retracement levels, or you get a move down, retracement, and you start to consolidate and break through those retracement levels, and that's how you could potentially spot a reversal, right? So we've had our move down, we're starting to retrace a little bit. All right, we could reject near these levels, continue heading lower, and break through our 41.91 support level, or we have the possibility of consolidating at these levels and trying to break through. Now, with that being said, it's going to be pretty risky to try to go long if you're going long at some of these major resistance levels, right? 56.43, 53.67, and $50.91. This is going to be an area where, maybe you want to just wait for either a breakout and retest, or to see if you reject and continue heading lower. So, definitely be cautious at these areas and pay close attention to them if we do continue to rally a little bit and head up higher. Now, most likely this thing is going to continue going back down. All right, just because of a lot of the fears. And if some more regional banks come out and say, basically that they're under pressure, or if, more bank run fear and FUD really goes through the economy and through the country, that's going to affect more of these regional banks and definitely going to hurt this ETF. So, it's definitely a highly risky play trying to get into this. I definitely don't have any positions in this, but this actually was a request. I do view a request every single week. So if you want to see your stock broken down in the next video, all you've got to do is comment down below and I'll make a video on it as soon as I can. With that being said, I really appreciate you making it this far. If you did, most likely you're going to enjoy one of these next two videos as well. So make sure to click on one of those, smash the like button, and subscribe to the channel.